going to tell you some things that have been happening, but I'm going to do it differently. You see that? Do you see what I showed you? Well, if you don't like that, I'll show you a different way. Called the Flappy Jack Jack. You don't like my dancing?
Queen of France does.
You don't like my dancing, you don't have to stay. But y'all gonna hear a story about that penguin. You heard me right on that. I mean, dancing's my thing. Let's join the penguin now.
Penguin.
We're back, Penguin fans. It's been a while since I've made a video, about 9 months. So just get you caught up here and what's been happening the last 9 months. The last December, I took off and drove up to Chicago to do nationals. I did make a video about this, but it wasn't that interesting. The best part about the trip was getting to see a lot of the Feats crew. Matt wasn't there. He was there in spirit. He wasn't dead. He wasn't there. I didn't do as well as I would have liked, but I did do better than I've ever done before at nationals, which is I finished on the lead lap for the first time. And so the season was done. I was dealing with like the shoulder pain and still dealing with the shoulder pain. So I ended up taking some time off the bike, relaxed a little bit, then we were well into winter.
What am I gonna do with all these lumps of coal?
In January, I started riding the trainer. Then in March and April, started riding outside, maybe like 1 to 2 days a week. I had planned some adjustments for my training, and I was going to start late spring, early summer instead of early spring. And so summer arrived, and I got 2 good months of base in May and June. And I was feeling good, and I was thinking about, like, for the future, how I'm going to adjust my training program for next year. My thoughts really were around the fact that I'm getting older, and I've been riding for a while, and basically I think it's really important to get a good base in, but I determined this year that at this point there probably is sort of a point of marginal return, maybe even diminishing return. My thought was, okay, next year I probably won't do these 25-hour weeks. Probably 20 is the sweet spot. As I just get older, I need to refocus a little bit on how I think about training. And I think this graph actually shows diminishing return. However, I had an issue developing, I think because I got a new saddle, and when I put it on accidentally and unknowingly, I put it on at the wrong angle and didn't really realize that was as big of an issue as it was. And I just thought, like, oh, I'll just ride it. It's probably just a new saddle. I'm not used to it. And this led to a big problem, which is why I haven't been riding basically for 2 months. It feels like a kernel of corn, but more like the size of 2 pieces of rice right on the butt bone. Basically, with like every pedal stroke, there's this thing underneath, like my sit bone. It moves and rubs and irritates. To ride, my butt gets swollen. The whole area just kind of hurts. It wasn't getting better, even like taking a week off the bike. So this started sort of a downward spiral. And as a result of all of this, we ended up canceling the Athens training camp, which really sucks because I was really looking forward to hanging and riding with Bill. But I did go to the doctor, and the first doctor said it's ischial bursitis.
You got that Weaver body.
Take 2 weeks off the bike, take the steroids, and if it doesn't get better, let me know. And it didn't, so she referred me to kind of a sports doctor. He did an ultrasound, and he said it's an abscess that is about
0.5 centimeters by 0.3 centimeters, roughly 1.5 centimeters under the skin.
He said take more time off the bike and take these antibiotics, and it wasn't getting better, so he was like, we need an ordered MRI. So I went and saw a surgeon, and he took a look at it, and by look at it, I mean, when I'm saying these people are looking at it, there's nothing to look at. They're feeling my butt. I've had a lot of people feel my butt this summer. Anyways, he says it's a cyst, so now I have 3 different opinions. And I go to get the MRI, and after the MRI, it just still is complete confusion. So there's no consensus. It still hurts when I ride or when I try to ride. It just feels very inflamed and sore. As a result of all of this, I haven't been riding. And as I took more time off the bike, I really started to worry about the season. So in the meantime, at some point between seeing all these doctors when they told me I couldn't ride, I decided I was going to start running because I had base fitness at this point. I just couldn't ride my bike. So I was like, I'll run, maybe salvage some of this fitness. But I'm not a very good runner. And so I ended up rolling my ankle. And after a couple of days, it looked like that. It just like swelled all up. So I contacted my primary care physician. She said, you need to see a podiatrist. The podiatrist took an x-ray, and basically it was just like, dude, you broke your foot and your ankle. You're not going to walk for 4 weeks or do anything. But he said,
For the low price of $500, I'll sell you this fancy boot.
I said, okay, sign me up. At this point, all hopes of a race season or a successful race season in terms of results are out the window. A little picture of the TV, I'm actually doing work. I tried to do some exercises, but because the boot, one leg is longer than the other, this caused all sorts of other asymmetrical problems and aches and pains. All of this has like got me in this really bad space that this is kind of the way I feel. Like my foot hurts, my butt hurts, my hips hurt, my shoulder hurts, and my brain hurts. I love to ride my bike. I mean, I just really like doing it, and I don't like the idea of not being able to do it. Riding and racing are a big part of my identity and really important to my mental well-being, especially riding, but also racing. I mean, at 44, that's still important to me, and I'm not ready to give that up yet. And I know the foot issue will heal, but the butt issue, I mean, it's at the point of, am I going to be able to ever ride with any sort of consistency again? All this has got me to thinking about, you know, what cycling has given me and where I'm going with it. Whenever I'm on the bike or in the middle of a training block or in the middle of the race season, I tend to just be more happy. I wake up, look out the window, and I'm excited to get out and explore the world. And the world seems more exciting too. There's something about coasting and pedaling through life that is very invigorating. The world seems to take on a whole new level of amazingness. Also, when I'm engaged in cycling, I seem to experience more serenity. It's almost like a form of meditation.
My mind is more at peace, yo.
There seems to be a greater calmness in my brain cavity. Cycling is also important for me to stay physically fit. I'm not really like a naturally fit person. In fact, I'd say I'm probably a pretty lazy person. And the goal of racing allows me to get into pretty good shape in a relatively enjoyable way. I like the feeling of being really physically fit. Racing and training really make me mentally tougher. Like after racing 45 minutes in 45-degree mud, doing everyday tasks like walking 10 minutes to your car in the rain just don't seem like that big of a deal. Racing gives me mental brass knuckles. And tied in with the serenity, I feel like I'm more present and appreciative of life when I'm engaged in cycling. Like a flower is amazingly beautiful even when the world around it is a flaming poo-poo storm. Cycling gives me focus on numerous levels. It gives me focus throughout the year with the goal of racing, but also during racing and hard training, there is a mental focus that I sometimes achieve. A flow state where I am 100% focused on the task at hand, and my mind is not going crazy with random thoughts and worries. And then there's the battle that occurs mentally. I've talked about this in other videos, but I like that mental battle of part of your body wants you to stop and then part of you wants to keep going, and just that mental fight. And I don't know, that calmness, that focus, that mental strength, that's all tied into that mental battle, I think. And I have trouble finding that anywhere else. So you got that going on the one hand, sort of what I get out of cycling and what I'm currently missing from it. Then on the other hand, I gotta think about like what the future is gonna hold. And so the doctor on the team always talks about how, we're going into battle and you get battle wounds, and that's part of it. And I understand that battle wounds are part of this sport. This is a sport of suffering. But up until a few years ago, I always assumed the battle wounds would pretty much heal back to 100%. And for the most part they did. But now, just with age and years of doing this, I'm starting to think some of this stuff is permanent, and I need to look at it with a little more acceptance, just as far as now you got this to deal with. But I'm worried that this may be a battle wound that is the end of it for me. Like, is it possible that this butt issue is my knockout punch? Too many days, that's what my brain's been. And that sucks because I just really like riding my bike. But I think one of the goals for me in this thing called life is being able to get old and sit around with good friends, drinking tea and talking about the adventures and the lives we've lived. So I have to be grateful and appreciative and thankful for all the experiences that cycling and racing have given me so far. There's going to be a time when I can't do the things I used to do or do them at the same level. Like, I just have to reevaluate everything. I mean, this is just part of getting old, right? I mean, that's just what happens is, things change. And, so I think that, part of all of this is me thinking about, just getting older and the transition. But I have heard that part of getting old is mental and how you perceive things, and I don't want my body to give up on me yet, because mentally I'm not ready to do that. I want to be a happy, active, old grandma. And so I've really been thinking about things like mind over matter and, accepting just what is. Getting old, that's all there is to it. These issues of injury and slower recovery, or maybe never fully recovering, and having to continually readjust goals, and also just how I do things. It's just really made me thinking about the future once again. got the boot off and started riding again. So I'm trying to do 2 days on, 1 day off. But even right now, my butt hurts. Just like sitting here, it just hurts. As do my hips and my knee and my back and my shoulder and my ankle and a bunch of other stuff just because I'm out of shape and asymmetrical at this point. I'm inflamed and in pain. I still feel like this. like my mind's not in a good place, my body's not in a good place. The thought of not racing again or riding again the way I want, it's all just got your boy down. But as the Buddha says, when your physical body is sick, do not allow your mind also to be sick. So I need to stop crying in my Diet Dr. Pepper. And then at least I'll have that going for me. I'm excited because the doctor's going to come and we're going to do some races, hopefully. He's going to do some races. Hopefully I will be able to. My goal is just to be able to start. If I'm physically able to do the race, even if I'm not in shape, cross racing is a lot of fun. But this whole process has been very frustrating in that no one can tell me what's wrong with me or what the solution is. It seems to be don't ride, which is a last resort for me, or just suffer through. And at this point, I mean, I suspect that as I get older, I'm just going to have more and more ailments to suffer through.
We'll suffer for bike fun.
In hopes of staying in shape, I bought a rowing machine. It hasn't arrived yet, but I bought one. But my worry with it is that it's not going to go anywhere. Haha, get it? So, back to staying mentally tough. I guess just keep my mind as strong as possible. That's all I can do right now. Keep my mind on. I'm going to be, fighting for Bunions for a little while. And those of you that are not from where I'm from and don't get that reference, like basically it means that I need to understand there's going to be rainy days. Those rainy days are important so that I can appreciate the sunny days. If every day was sunny, I wouldn't appreciate the sunny days. And not only that, I should just be happy that I have an onion and a purple one at that. But right now I do feel like I'm just kind of lost and out floating in the sea, alone, my little iceberg. So that's my video. Hopefully the next video will be from races and with the doctor. Not, you'll get more craziness like this.
What the heck was that crap? I mean, I can't ride a bike either. Can you? No.
I'm just checking the Casa Ikakule. I hope I'm saying that right. Italian's gotten really bad. So today is October 2nd, and I'm done after this. I need to end this video because, yeah, man, this is making the video that's too long, way too long. I'm like 2 weeks of having the boot off right now, and so I rode a week inside, rode like 10 minutes outside a couple times this week. Today's Sunday. Rode about an hour and a half one day, and then today went out and rode like 2.5 hours outside. So I've been trying to keep to the pattern of 2 days on, 1 day off, about 2 hours each day, with some minor exceptions of like having to go drop off my car and riding home. But I'm having all sorts of issues right now. Like this has now gone beyond just like the butt issue. Like the butt issue is still there. There's no doubt about that. But now my hips are killing me. And it's just the hip that's on the opposite side from the leg I broke. So it may be some symmetry problem having to do with having that boot on and the way I'm moving my hips. But even like when I walk right now, I can tell that like one of my hips is slanted. And as I'm starting to think back, I thought all this saddle and the butt issue started with the saddle when I changed the saddle, but it might have started before that. I'm still convinced that I don't know what's going on with the butt. Like I still don't know what's going on with it. I have theories beyond just with the two doctors. And I want to be clear about this. I have like two people that could be right, but the problem is what they suggest for long-term relief is very different and almost contradictory. And so right now I'm taking the much more conservative, the guy has specializes like in sports sort of issues, taking his approach. But I still think that this may, I don't have the best posture. If you know me, I just genetically, I got a bad spine. Yeah, I'm convinced that all this goes back to the broken elbow in 2019. And I think that started a cascading process of me being asymmetrical. And I pushed through one season, fine, pushed through a second season, fine, but it just started. Yeah, I just think that there's some issues there. So I've been spending, quite frankly, like I don't know, I just spent another hour, 2 days ago I spent 2 hours, just trying to stretch my body and doing I don't even know if these are exercises. A lot of guys I probably should ask somebody if this is even good for me. But just laying flat on my back and trying to relax and let my hips settle so that they seem like they're even. The problem is I'm looking at the ceiling thinking that my ceiling's even, and as I'm laying there for an hour or whatever, I'm like, the ceiling could not be straight either. And yeah, man, this is what I'm saying about it. Gets me down the head, spirals all these crazy thoughts. But anyways, so I rode today, and I rode maybe that's the other thing is I tell people all the time, you need to ride easy, you need to ride easy, you need to ride easy. That's really important, especially it's exactly what I'm dealing with right now, where my body could be a little bit off because I was walking lopsided for a month or some other reason. The best thing I can do on the bike is ride easy. And both times I've gone outside, it's like being a drug addict. And it's just you get outside and you just want to say okay, not like I was going as hard as I could or anything, but just can you go the way you used to? And by the way, you take 2 months off the bike, the answer is absolutely no. Or I can't. I don't know, maybe some people can. I can't. I can tell my body's just really inefficient right now. Just rolling and where my heart rate was and the way my legs feel, it just doesn't match up to where it was 2 months ago. And it's just weird. It's just weird. But I did 15 minutes at a moderate heart rate, and yeah, I'm slow. I mean that's all there's to it. Is I know where I was. I know doing that heart rate 2 months ago what I was doing, and this season I'm not going to be getting results. That's for sure. The question is watching the race today, watching Lawrence sway his face plant or shin plant, I guess, into the stairs. But the foot, I tried to jump on the bike today, just see what that would feel like remounting, and it's just my foot is not there. It's not comfortable. So on the flip side of this, the cross season's here. It's on the TV. You can put it on the TV thing, and hopefully that's still coming. Hopefully that's happening, and that means I'll be at the cross races no matter what, which is always exciting. And so
counting out couscous by the grain, doing all I can to get ready.
Hey, my bones are bad. Structurally, I am not built like an athlete. I'm built like I don't even know, an accountant. Really, I think we were stonemasons, though. Maybe I'm built like that. I don't know what a stonemason looks like. I don't even know if stonemason's a real thing. I'm just making stuff up. So where was I? Stretching a lot, trying to ride. Just accepted that I'm going to have to deal with this butt pain. So I think that's it. I have no other interesting news. It's hard to believe 9 months and I have nothing to report. Oh, I know one thing when I was riding today I thought about. In the video I go over and over about how much I love riding. That's true when I'm in shape. There was times today where it was just kind of it's really windy. Actually, I don't even know if it's that windy. I'm just not in that great a shape. But it's just kind of all right, I need to remind myself to look up and enjoy this. And it was just a lot of suffering. But I was also thinking in those moments that, again, I enjoy that suffering. I don't enjoy sitting here and being in pain for no reason. I don't mind. It's you're physically pushing yourself in this moment, and that's why you're experiencing this pain. In a very, somebody that knows about any sort of psychology probably is going to have a field day with this, but there's something pleasurable about that self-inflicted suffering. But it wasn't. Some days, actually, when I'm in shape, it's not going hard, just going and cruising through a city or whatever.
it's effortless. Like that's just the shape that you have. And when you have that, like, you take it for granted. And today was just a reminder of, like, yeah, riding a bike's really enjoyable when you have that level of fitness of, you know, it's just effortless to go easy. But today, like, just riding hurt. I mean, I just haven't been riding. So I got on Strava because I haven't been on Strava forever because I haven't been riding. And, you know, I could see the segments I did today as a normal route I do. And it's just kind of funny because it's like, you know, there's this huge gap. It's like, okay, you can see, like, all right, I was riding a lot. Okay, here's where I took an extended period hoping that there's like that 2 weeks in there or whatever, or 3 weeks. Tried to ride again, couldn't. And then you can see, like, I had some big rides, but I was doing it with a broken foot. Like, I didn't put that in the video, but I rode nearly a week with a broken foot, still having the butt pain. Like, it was after a month off the bike, and I got to go ahead and just try it and see what happened while we were waiting for MRI stuff. This is why I went and saw the surgeon. And, yeah, so, man, but thinking about it, I had a broken foot and ankle for 2 weeks, I think, before I saw the doctor, and he was like, you shouldn't be, like, walking around. I was, like, riding and, like, going out and trying to do tempo rides. But anyways, then at Strava, there's, like, this, you know, huge just drop-off of not doing anything. But again, okay, I you know, even though it wasn't, like, necessarily, like, an effortless ride that was enjoyable. And the thing is, I don't mind going out and doing a hard ride, and it's like, all right, I'm going to go out and suffer today. But it kind of sucks when you're not planning that, and you're just suffering at that level because you're trying to get somewhere on a bike at a casual pace. But at the same time, it's like, this is going to feel good when I'm done. And yeah, it hurts my hips and it hurts my knee. Oh, yeah, with the hips. Whenever I try to straighten out the hips, then my knee's been bothering me too. So I think all of this is related. But anyways, just, you know, it's not real pleasant today. It's like, I don't know, it was like 60 when I went out, 65. Actually, it's nice. It was a nice day for a ride. But it's overcast, and it was raining all day yesterday, and it's really humid, so it's really cold, 60, and, you know, it's just not a sunny fall day. And, yeah, I don't know. Like, you know, it feels good to have your face kind of wind chapped a little bit and know that you did that. I also planned my whole ride around picking up my car, and I went there, unlocked my car, put my bike in there, took off my helmet, got ready, like, went in there and was like, hey, I'm here to pick up my car, and they're like, it's not done. Yeah, man, this whole summer's been a little bit of a mental, like, trip, just because I feel like I was on a really high, yeah, like, mentally I was doing, yeah, just enjoying everything, and then the big source of that got taken away. And so, yeah, it's just been crazy, man. Not crazy, I mean, nothing crazy, but just a lot of time just to sit around and think, and yeah. But today it was good. I was able to ride my bike, and that's a good day. Is that profound enough to finish on? I don't know. I don't even know what I'm doing anymore with this. That's another reason it took 9 months to make this video, is I just don't feel like I have all that much to say right now. But I was encouraged to, because this whole thing's supposed to be about the journey, and I think that, you know, masters racers have to deal with the inevitable aches and pains, and have to go, probably, maybe it's just me, I don't know, probably have to go through some soul searching about how to continue in a capacity that physically you're able and still provides you the enjoyment that you need out of it. So yeah.